All right. So I wanted to talk to you guys about social media tonight. Again, not just about necessarily social media in general, but about scaling your portfolio using social media, because there really is kind of a right and a wrong way to use social. Not all about likes and followers. And I want to show you guys the impact that it's had on my business. So here we go. Come on, slideshow. Hang on, guys. All right. This is one of my favorite quotes when it comes to teaching some of my students about social media. So to be successful in real estate, you must always and consistently put your client's best interests first. When you do, your personal needs will be realized beyond your greatest expectations. So the whole philosophy that I'm going to go over with you guys tonight is that social is not meant to be something where it's about us, right? Although it's our accounts and it's our voice and it's our platform, it's not about us. We're here for the public. We're here for the audience. And the more you guys can focus on providing value, the more that you can put the interests of your audience first, the better results you guys will see when it comes to social media. So tonight I'm going to talk with you guys about the importance of social media in growing your portfolio, how to build up your reputation so that you can attract investors, private sales, whatever you want to accomplish with social media, and a little brief on what platforms are popular right now and how best to use them. So you guys already heard my bio, but just a little bit about my backstory. So I've only been investing for about 3 years, which doesn't seem like a long period of time. And it's not, but social really had a huge part in my quick rise to financial freedom. I've raised over $10 million in capital this year alone through social media. And I've done a lot of stuff on social. I have found money partners. I found off-market leads. I've networked. It's such a great thing when you can learn how to harness it correctly. And I've been, I guess, full-time investing now for about 2.5 years. So it's been a fun ride. So real estate, I mean, we've already talked about it here tonight, but really and truly, guys, it can absolutely change your life. It's not a myth. It's not a surprise. All of us here, on the panel team have retired from our real estate retired. I went from particularly being a millennial, standard millennial you see today, can't afford a house, was in a lot of debt, didn't have a job that could sustain me. I didn't even own a primary residence when I first started investing in real estate. And it was able to catapult me into my best life. And the secret to doing all of this on social media was really tapping into my why and my story, which I'm going to show to you guys. So first, I want to talk to you about why do you need social media? Because I bet you on this call, there's probably some skeptics like, Sarah, I don't like Facebook. I don't like putting myself out there. I'm not comfortable being on video. And I'm going to show you guys that, yes, it might be uncomfortable. Yes, not everything about social media is great. And we might have to push ourselves outside that comfort zone, but the results and the benefits are well worth stepping outside of that comfort zone that we've set for ourselves. Because we have to be honest about where we're at in our society coming into this post-pandemic world. The old ways of how we raise capital no longer work, or whatever we needed to do on, in real life, whether that's door knocking for leads, raising capital, going to, all of these networking meetings and seminars on Zoom, they're great, but it's hard to develop and foster connections over a screen, right? Asking friends and family for money or help or raising capital. And even now with COVID, a lot of people don't want to meet face to face. So all of these old ways that we used to do things in real estate, we have to kind of throw that out the window and reset our minds a little bit, because there's a much easier way to accomplish what we need to do in our real estate portfolio. You can attract money. I mean, as you guys know, raising capital is kind of my thing, but again, this could be, you could be searching down private seller leads. You could just be networking with power team individuals by, developing this brand, coming up with like irresistible offers and subject matter. You will have people throwing money at you and deals at you at the click of a button. And that is the power and the leverage of social media, as opposed to some of these in-person things that realistically we can't even do right now. So you have to pick. You don't like social media. It's kind of the new way of the future. You're going to have to get comfortable with it if you really, really want to take those next steps in your real estate portfolio. And don't forget that social media is a world of possibility. It doesn't have to be this scary thing that feels intimidating. By using social media and other online sources, we have access to thousands of captive leads. You can leverage your time all with the touch of a button, right? I can reach thousands more people through a Facebook post or a YouTube video than I ever could at a networking event or a seminar where I may only get to speak to a handful of people in a given evening. And when it comes to real estate investing, if you talk to any professional investor, you will learn that leveraging your time and systemizing is the way to success. You have to be able to create repeatable systems in order to grow a successful portfolio. So if you're spending your time meeting with people face to face and driving around and always being physically in a place in order to succeed, you're only going to be able to purchase so many deals. You're going to funnel yourself. So if you guys can effectively use social media, whether it's COVID or not, you should be implementing it in your real estate portfolio so you can become more efficient and focus on the things that an investor should be focusing on. We have two main tasks as investors. One being finding deals, and two, finding the money to buy those deals. Anything else and everything else can and should be outsourced at some point in your portfolio so that you can be efficient and scalable. And again, guys, the landscape has changed. More and more people are working from home and will never go back to an office. That means they're glued to their phone more than ever before. There's been an increase of over $1 billion spent in online advertising, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. You guys are probably getting bombarded with them on a daily basis. That's a slice of the pie that we can cut into for our own benefit. Increased use again of social media by consumers. We are on our phones more than ever. So it's such a great way to tap into people at critical times during their day to get in front of them. You don't have to wait for a monthly networking meeting. You can do this on a daily basis. And again, it really is more and more challenging to meet with JV partners or to see properties in person with all of these ongoing COVID restrictions. The other thing I want to reiterate for you guys is, remember that old millennial saying, pics or it didn't happen? I like to explain this to my students that, like, if it's not on social media, did it even happen? All those flips that you do, all those buildings, that you purchase, if you don't chronicle and show kind of like as an online resume what you've got going on in your social portfolio, people aren't going to trust you. And I know it's a sad way society has gone if you want to look at it that way, but realistically, people use social media as a credibility builder. So they're going to watch you. If they're going to lend you money, they're going to check out your Facebook. They're going to watch your Instagram. And if they can't see evidence of some of the deals you're doing or some of the properties you're engaging with, it's going to be really, really tricky to convince that lender that, yes, I do own a $10 million portfolio, or yes, I have completed a lot of successful flips, because most of us are on social every single day. And it's important to, chronicle this, to use this to document your journey online so that it's easy for, a money lender to build credibility, to be able to trust that you are who you say you are. Now, when it comes to scaling and building a brand, this is critical, because at the end of the day, it's not just about showing up on social and just posting anything you want whenever you want. You have to do it with a strategy in place and with a brand people can trust. I always like to use the examples of, comparing yourself to Nike or Apple or any big brand that you like and trust. The idea is that you want to have that same impact on an individual so that they get this feeling when they're around you, because your brand is not just about a website. It's not just about a logo or your business cards or the things you have. It's about the experience and the feeling they get when they interact with your brand. If you guys think about any big purchase you've made in your life, any brand that you're really affiliated with, you'll find that it's less about the product and more about the feeling that the product gives you, the way the marketing makes you feel when you watch it or look at it. So that's the same kind of level we need to get to as a brand on social media in order to instill confidence and credibility with either potential maybe sellers for off-market properties or money lenders if we're trying to raise some capital or JV partners. And again, in case you guys haven't seen, I am all about branding. It's super important. Now, this is a long time ago I put this together, but you can see like there's a plan here. There's cohesiveness between my brand, my colors, the feel, the vibe of who I am, my colors, even fonts, even all of that, so that when people see my logo and people see my colors, over time they become conditioned to recognize, oh, that's Sarah. I associate her with X, Y, and Z. That's what we want to have happen. Obviously, positive feelings and good experiences, but it's really, really important to be consistent and have a cohesive brand that is recognizable when you're on social. Again, it's not just good enough to show up and post whatever, a few times a week and expect to have success on social media. You have to do it with a plan in place. So in terms of what we can use social media for, and it's not just raising capital, but it is a great conduit to connect and find potential money partners. We can use it to source off-market properties, use some advertising, Facebook ads to source out leads, connect with power team members if you guys need a new mortgage broker or a good realtor. Great way to network and connect with these individuals. You can really just spread your influence, build a reputation. You just don't know what kind of doors will open to you when you really start to spread that influence and spread, your credibility. And the importance of branding, if you guys think like, I don't want to spend time on this, why is it even important? It's because, again, of the feelings it instills. It sets expectations for what people can expect when they work with you. It helps add an extra layer of connection to your audience. It creates loyalty and trust. It's also easy to recognize. People can see the logo and be able to associate something immediately with that. And all of that equates to this really powerful impact when they're identifying with your brand. Think about the people you guys love to follow, like I don't know, take Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone or any of Robert Kiyosaki, all these amazing individuals that we might follow on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. The reason we connect with them is because of the message, because of the trust, because of the credibility, and the feeling we get, that we align with who they are and what they represent. So we're going to, on a smaller scale, take that and try to, replicate that type of powerful impact with the messaging and what we're bringing to our social media profiles. Because at the heart of a brand is not numbers, it's not deals, it's not all about the real estate. It's also about your personal story and your values. Again, if you think of all the people you follow, you probably like the real estate that they do in the deals. But even if you're following someone because they do a lot of deals, that also subjectively says something about who they are as a person. We could infer from that they're a hustler, that they're dedicated, that they're ambitious. We like those things about that individual, so we follow them, right? So it's the same thing. So it's important that you guys really, really hammer down, what is your value? What is it you want to provide to your audience, and then weave in that personal story. That's the magic sauce in this whole thing, is your personal story. And I might say, well, Sarah, I don't really like my personal story. I came from a poor household and I don't have a lot of properties right now, and I'm kind of embarrassed. It doesn't matter. People love an underdog story. I'm an underdog story. If you guys ever want to check out my story, I mean, I came from like absolutely nothing, 0 to hero kind of thing. So, and I found that instead of that turning investors away, they are inspired by my story. They think it's amazing what I've been able to accomplish in a short period of time, and it impresses them rather than turn them off. So regardless of how you guys feel about your personal journey and your why about real estate, your investors want to hear it. They want something to connect with. So please don't be shy. Just share that story. It should be your first post. When you guys are first setting up, social media profiles, write a little blurb about who you are and what got you started into real estate. Why is this important to you? Again, I'll probably say this like 100 times during this presentation. Your investors don't care about the numbers. They will eventually, but that's not what's going to get them in the door. At first, people are going to be intrigued by who you are and what you bring to the table. The deals will come after the fact. And again, it's about how you make this potential audience feel. You need to show them exactly what they can expect when they work with you. Are you trustworthy? Are you funny? Are you ambitious? Are you innovative? Whatever those value buzzwords are, just got to weave them into your social media, and they will be, your brand will be that much stronger. They'll know exactly what they're getting from working with you. They also need, and I love using this, the like, know, and trust you elements of your brand. So I like to call this a triad, and it's really, really important, because if you're missing even one of these three critical components, you're going to lack something very big in your brand that will most likely have people turn away from you. So if you're coming and you're trying to sell me something, and I like you and I know who you are, but I don't trust you, there's probably a good chance I'm not going to buy whatever you have on sale, And same goes the other way. Like if I trust you and I know who you are, but I don't really like you, I'm still probably not going to buy your stuff. So it's really, really important that when you guys are weaving this whole story online with your social media, you have all three components. So that's all, the different types of stuff you need to post about. They need to trust you. So why should they trust you? Where's the credibility? Know you. Where did you come from? And show a little bit of that personality, show a little bit of who you are. And if you have all of these three components, there should be no reason why investors or anyone else would not be excited to work with you. So in terms of social media in relation to investing, again, if you really demonstrate the social media knowledge, the real estate knowledge that you have, the real estate expertise you have, and you share your story, you are going to form an unbreakable bond with your potential audience, because building your relationships, again, is not about the numbers. You want to tell potential investors or off-market sellers, it works for that too. You want to show them your story and how your skills can help them. At the end of the day, remember, I said this at the beginning, it's not about you guys. It's, about you servicing your investors. How do your skill sets, how do your values help them? And the more you guys can demonstrate that, the more people will get excited about working with you, because they'll feel like their needs are being met. So it's really, really important that you guys understand, whether this is a money partner or a private seller, what is it that they really want and need? And if we can talk to them directly, then we've got a killer formula that's going to get a yes every single time. And so in terms of tailoring that perfect message to that individual, that comes down to your unique values and talents and skills that you're going to bring to the table, and then understanding what your audience needs and wants. And again, this can be a private lead for an off-market property you're looking at, a potential money partner, whatever that is. If you can really, really hone into those pain points and the things that make them tick, then they feel like you are talking directly to them. And again, that's kind of like the magic. If you think about that last set of Nike shoes that you bought, or whatever the case is, you were probably sold somewhere in here, right? They got you in the messaging somewhere where you just felt compelled that, wow, they got me. That message really hit me, in the feels, right? That's what you want people to feel when they read and go to your social media, that this person gets me. It's like they can see inside my mind. That's the kind of messaging you want to focus on. You have to talk to them in their language, not what you're trying to sell. It's not the cash flow. It's not always the numbers. It's what truly matters to them. And to, potential money partners, for example, it might be less about the really nitty gritty dollars and cents and the freedom to spend more time with their family, the freedom to go on more vacations, to be hands off, to take more time off of work, retire their spouse, whatever those big ticket items are. So it's important that you guys get in and you understand what matters to your audience so that you can talk to them in their language, not what we're trying to sell. I'm not trying to sell you a deal. I'm trying to sell you a vision. I'm trying to sell you a story. That is compelling use of social media. So I'm going to get into a few quick tips and tricks about the actual use of some of the different social media platforms. And again, guys, I really want to reiterate that all the stuff that I'm talking about tonight is stuff that I use on a daily basis. So if you watch, my social channels or, some other big investors, you'll see that we all utilize similar formulas, right? We talk about our stories, we share our thoughts and our opinions. We talk about the needs of our potential investors and off-market sellers and all of that. So I walk the walk and talk the talk, right? And I wouldn't tell you this if it didn't actually work, because I know from just, teaching a lot of other students that this seems to be kind of a mental stopping block for people, that they don't need social. Like, I can get by, it's fine. I don't need to share my journey on Facebook. And then, they get their first private lender that wants to give them money for a flip. And they're like, okay, well, can you show me your website? Can you show me some past work you've done? Can, you show me your Facebook page or whatever the case is? And they have no evidence. They have no marketing to back it up. They're ghosts online. You Google them and they don't exist. That doesn't say a lot, because it's not just about sharing everything about your life on social. It's, again, about taking yourself seriously. Any credible business out there has at least a basic website and a business Facebook page. So if you guys really want to take yourself seriously, you want to, leverage your time and be smart about this, you have to take these steps. Really absorb this, start sharing your story online, start being more consistent about social media, and you guys will see a massive shift in results. So in order to brand successfully on social media, it's about consistency. You guys have probably heard me talk about this a lot already. It's important, like consistency, not just in posting every single day, but consistency in what you say and how you say it. Your brand and your messaging has to stay consistent across channels. You can't be talking like, Lamborghinis and Rolexes on Instagram, and then on your Facebook, you're talking about family values and this and that. Okay, yes, we're human, we're complex. You can have both, but just be careful about how you talk about certain topics and opinions across channels, because you want your message to be consistent. So if they hop from your YouTube to your Instagram to your Facebook, that it all feels like a seamless experience, because you will lose credibility and trust if your messaging changes across channels. Well, one tone, one strategy. Some people call it a bit of a persona. That's okay too. Just pick one that feels right for you. Try to sink into something that feels natural, that feels honest and good, and then stick with that. That's your online persona. That's who you're going to be. That's what you're going to talk about. And then just, again, try to really stay consistent across the different social media channels. Again, people really get lost and confused if you keep switching it up. So in terms of social media, this one was great because it fit my slide. Obviously, this is missing a couple of apps like TikTok, for example, that maybe you guys want to play around with. TikTok, I wouldn't say you instantly earn money lenders or serious investors from TikTok, but it is a great way to gain viewers, just to have people get to know who you are. And we'll get into this in the next slide, that each social media platform serves a different purpose, right? So, for example, like YouTube, probably the most in-depth, like serious social media app that we use. Like it's long, well-formed videos. LinkedIn, same thing, like quite a serious kind of in-depth app. For something more silly, maybe we just want to get a lot of viewers coming in, a lot of people to get to know who we are. We do some Instagram lives, and we do some TikTok videos. So it's important that you guys pick channels that work for you, that you understand how each app works and you're using it appropriately. And my recommendation, guys, is that you pick one app to start. If you're really, really new to social and you've never done this for like a business before, make sure that you're only doing it one at a time. Get really good at like Facebook, and then move on to like Instagram. And you don't really need more than like 3 or 4 social apps, which seems like a lot, but as you guys get used to it, it's not so bad. I have about 4 that I use on a regular basis, but I built that up over time. Don't overwhelm yourself, but you should absolutely have more than one. I would say a minimum of 2 different social media platforms that you should be on, including your website, by the way. That's not included. Okay, so just going to give you guys kind of a brief overview of the differences and how you should be using each of these apps. So for YouTube, for example, it's it's an app that requires a lot of dedication, right? Lots of video time, lots of editing, lots of scripting. So you do this when you want to really get across important messaging and you want it to be good. You want it to be professional. This is where people are really going to see your expertise, really relate to you, and get to know you on an intimate level. There's nothing like watching someone on video to really get a sense of who they are. So it's such a great platform, but you do have to dedicate the time and the effort to do it right. So same thing kind of with Facebook. Because we're able to join groups, because we can use Facebook ads, because we can do a lot of these advanced things with it, it's great for establishing credibility and demonstrating professionalism. Even so just to share personal stuff with you guys, like I'm getting married next year and I've been screening a bunch of like florists and DJs and things like that. And, one of the first places or second places I check to verify if they're any good is their Facebook page. So the first thing is I'll go and check out their website, and then I want to go see what they're posting on a regular basis on Facebook so I can get a bit of a more low-key idea of like what they sound like, what kind of things they like to post, what kind of recent events they've done or things like that. So that is basically what we should be using Facebook for. It's kind of like a chronicling resume. We want to be showing high-level things, what we're doing on a daily basis, projects we're working on, in-depth opinion pieces, sharing our opinions on articles, things like that. And it's also a really, really great platform to advertise using actual like ad spend. When it comes to Instagram, because it's a picture-based app, it's a little more casual, right? So there's no in-depth articles here. There's no groups. There's nothing like that, right? You got to make an impact in a short period of time. It's a little more informal. So this is where you really want to demonstrate some of your core values. You can demonstrate a bit of the behind the scenes. What are you doing? What kind of properties are you looking at? It's a little more impromptu. You can do an Instagram live or an Instagram story video. It doesn't have to be scripted and edited the same way a YouTube video needs to be. So it's a great app for connecting on a really, really core level with your audience that's kind of removing barriers. People like to really, really get engaged on Instagram. So the point I'm really, really trying to make here is that don't mistake how to use each app and think that they can each be used equally. You have to remember what each app, what the strength is of each platform, and make sure that you're tailoring your content and the types of stuff you're posting on them accordingly. So just a couple quick tips for you guys, for those of you who are really just getting started on social media and you want a couple tips to kind of get you going. Here's just a few of my high level advice for those of you struggling or maybe just wanting to launch your brand. My first one is always about equipment. A lot of us stop and won't even start, doing stuff for our real estate business because we're like, oh, we don't have the right setup. I don't have enough money for the right camera or the right lighting or the right sound. Doesn't matter. When I first started my YouTube video, guys, I was literally using an iPhone on a stand with like no lighting. I had a bunch of like lamps, and I still got a ton of followers because people were more interested in what I had to say than some of my, maybe iffy lighting setup. So don't let that stop you. And don't forget, we can go on Amazon and get a decent little microphone and get a nice little ring light for like $30. So don't let that be a barrier to you getting started. Start with the iPhone, start with a cheap, Amazon ring light and get going. If it's the difference between you starting and not starting, just do it. Tell. So again, remember, it's important, guys, tell your story. If you're like, Sarah, I don't have a big portfolio, I have nothing to talk about, it's not an excuse. You have a lot to talk about. You have your story to talk about, your why to talk about, the type of value you're going to bring to your potential investors. That is a ton of stuff to get you started until you really start doing deals at a high level. Posting. I know it's a challenge for you guys, but you've got to make it happen. I recommend that you guys are posting at least 5 days a week. Post things like a day in the life of an investor, engage people with a cool question, share an article, do a sales post. Hey, we're looking for potential partners. This is why you should work with us. There's no excuses, guys. Social media needs to be part of the business. It needs to be like you spend time on bookkeeping, you spend time on property management, you spend time looking at deals. Carve out an hour a day to do social media. It is that important to your business. Don't make an excuse. It has to be consistent. Video. Do at least a video a week. For those of you super nervous about it, just start small. Do like a 10-second, 20-second, then 30-second video. Record it a bunch of times, not live, 100 times if you need to, until you get a version of it that you like, and then start it slow. It can just be a, hey, I'm Sarah Eder. I'm a real estate investor in Brantford. I love investing in multifamily properties, and I'm super excited to launch my new Facebook page. That's it. Just ease yourself into it. But guys, video is so critical. It allows people to connect with you better. It ranks better on Facebook and Instagram's algorithms, aka you get more followers by doing it. It is critical to your success to do lots of videos so people can really get a sense of who you are. Again, do not tell, do not sell. It's not a good way of marketing anymore. We're not vacuum salespeople, okay? Be educational and informative. If you ever get stuck, always keep that in mind. We're here to provide value, demonstrate like, what do the investors want? How can we be educational? How can we provide value to them? You will never go wrong if you keep that in mind. And my last tip of advice, guys, is make sure to capture your leads. If you're doing a good job on social and you're getting lots of followers and you're getting lots of DMs and people are reaching out to you, you have to be able to take likes and follows into real life. It's not good enough, right? Like, I can have 10,000 followers, but it's no good if they never buy what I have to offer. So you guys have to get good at capturing these leads, booking phone calls with them, driving them to your website, getting them off of social media and into real life so you can actually convert them into leads or off-market deals or potential, money partners, more or less. None of this, what I'm telling you, is going to be helpful if you guys cannot take them and convert them into actual leads. I know I'm almost like up at my time, so I'll just kind of breeze this quick, guys. I just wanted to show you kind of a very, very brief overview of advanced strategies that you can use on social. What I talked about was obviously phase one, just get out there, post some videos, share your story, be informative, and be consistent. Those are the high level tips. But for those of you wanting to really kind of take it to the next level, you can do things like Facebook ads. I can attract money partners. I can source off-market leads. I can look for private sellers by, promoting Facebook ads. It's one of the best parts about Facebook, in my opinion. I can target different audiences. I can promote products, whatever I want to sell, whoever I want to target. I can create a Facebook ad for it. I highly encourage those of you really wanting to ramp it up. If you guys are wholesalers or flippers, for example, you want to get some off-market leads, get some ads going. Same thing with like hashtags and Instagram stories. It's not good enough for you guys to just post on your wall. You want to be on Instagram stories. There's more engagement. Use relevant hashtags. It allows people to follow you and engage with you on a deeper level. Super, super important. And when it comes to funnels, again, a cool thing that I like to use is a lead funnel capture system where I can introduce something to an individual and capture their email address. Again, effectively taking them off of social media into real life. So now I can interact with them one-on-one. That is really where social media starts to get some legs and become quite powerful. All right, I know my time is up, so I will give you guys a little recap. So again, social media is more important than ever, guys, to your portfolio. You really want to do this right. Create that brand and tell an effective story. Keep that messaging consistent. Become an expert, show people why they should trust you. Start with at least 2 channels of social media to be effective, and just try to give away value. They want to trust you, right? They don't want the numbers. So let them like you, share your story, and you guys will do great on social, and just do it. Don't be afraid. You can do it, I promise. And thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You can find me here at my social channels, but I appreciate you guys having me. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah. That was awesome. And we're seeing in the chat people saying thank you. Lots of great tips there. Lots of, it's interesting, talking about using social media to grow your business. 3 years ago when you came to Onria,
yeah,
and you spoke about a similar topic,
Yeah.
Shawn didn't post on social at all,
Right.
like ever.
No.
And I had been bugging him to do it. And it was your presentation that was like, oh, maybe it does work. So
Yeah, I've seen you out there. You guys are doing great on social.
he posts a lot now.
Yeah.
Certainly doing a whole lot more than we were doing back then, that's for sure.
Definitely.
And you guys will see when Shawn talks sort of how social media has played into to our business growth. But I want to get to some of the questions here, if you're okay with taking some questions.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, so Brandon is asking, for someone who's not familiar with putting together a marketing strategy and implementing it on social media, what would you recommend? Do you use a company to help you build your brand, or is it more trial and error? Is there maybe a tool or something that you would recommend?
That's a really good question. I would say, like, listen, like, I don't want you guys to just like go out and spend, thousands of dollars with like a marketing agency to just do a bunch of posting for you and things like that. But trial and error can be costly too. Like, you guys don't want to just waste hours and hours of your time, like messing around with Facebook ads if you've never done it before. So I would recommend, like, if you guys can find like a marketing company that can at least just help you get set up in the right direction, help you set up a logo, those values, kind of just like some basics to help get you started. It might cost you a couple $1,000s, but it will probably save you like hours and hours and hours of time. At the beginning, I would not spend like a monthly fee on like a marketing agency, because that's probably a little much, but a lot of them do like kind of basic consultations that are probably worth the money.
Cool. I want to add to that. There's a great resource that I came across that can help if you're sort of new to this. It's a book called, now I'm going to forget what it's called, Building a Brand Story. It's a marketing book. It works for any business, but it would work for real estate investing. And there's a secondary book called Building a Brand Story for Social Media. That's the one that I would suggest if you go on Amazon. I can't remember who wrote it, but you could probably check it out there. There are lots of free resources out there, to start creating, if you want to do things on your own, you can use Canva to help you with a logo. But like Sarah said, having some professional direction, if this is something that you're going to commit to, is a really good idea.
You can also just follow people who are doing well on social media and just copy what they're doing, right? Like, if it's not copied word for word, but kind of
inspire.
Inspire.
Yeah.
There we go.
Not that my name now is Sarah. No, it's but copy sort of what they're doing and how they're showing, what their work is or what their profession is. You can gain a lot of knowledge and a lot of insight on how to do things just by following successful people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Brandon asked another question. Do you utilize certain metrics like views and likes and that sort of thing from social platforms to determine what strategies or what types of posts work best? And if so, can you go over which metrics may be best to focus on to tailor your strategy? That's a good question.
Ooh, that's a big one.
It's a full one.
Oh, so yes, the good answer is yes and no. Okay, so when you guys are definitely like testing out different types of posts, like you try out a video post versus like you write like a little article or a blog or something like that. Yeah, we definitely try to look at the metrics that count, and those are usually cost per clicks. Usually, like if you ever go on like Facebook's business dashboard, guys, it is going to overwhelm you like crazy, because there's a lot of like metrics on there that really we don't need nor care about. Stuff like how long have people viewed your videos for, unless you really want to get that technical, like there's lots and lots of different stuff. I'm more concerned about conversions at the end of the day. Like, because again, this isn't a popularity contest. So how many likes and followers and all that stuff is irrelevant if people aren't converting or connecting or like commenting on your stuff. So I'm more concerned about like engagement, not how many people have seen my stuff, not how many like video, things or, click throughs. I want to know like how many people commented, how many people liked, how many click throughs have I gotten through like my funnel that have actually converted into actual leads. That's the metrics that I try to look for. And when I run Facebook ads, when we have like a really efficient one going, we're usually at about like 10 cents per click. Once you guys start getting to like about like $1 per click or more, you're probably missing some optimization in there. I will be fully honest, as we get into more of that technical stuff, I ended up hiring a Facebook ads manager because it got intense really fast. But for just basic like posting, that's what I would really focus on, is try to focus on the engagement, the clicks, the likes, because that's showing people are actually taking an interest in stopping and checking out your posts.
Absolutely. Awesome. Paul is asking, when posting on social media, do you recommend sharing your numbers, like getting into the nitty gritty of the deals?
Depends. I know for me, I try not to get like too nitty gritty. Because there's a lot of trolls out there that I don't feel like arguing with on a daily basis, that they're like, your numbers are wrong, or this is fake, or whatever the case is. The other thing too is like, I'm always a little nervous about like the Ontario Securities Commission too, that, they can misconstrue that as you promising certain, interest rates or things that we maybe want to avoid. But that being said, you saying, hey, I bought this property for X and I refied it for Y. Absolutely. Show people you got a screaming deal and you guys did awesome on the refi or whatever the case is. But I'd probably leave like the really, really in-depth stuff for like an Instagram live or a webinar or something like that. Yeah.
Great. Jay's asking, how much of your growth would you attribute to social media?
Almost like 100% of it. Like, I'm not kidding, guys. Like when I first got started, like I said, I was a kid. I was like 28, didn't have a primary residence, didn't have a reputation. I had not like a lot going on. And by becoming popular on social media, like talking about my journey on social and talking about what I was doing and sharing some of the struggles and behind the scenes, people started to take notice, like, and people that helped me, like money partners, like mortgage brokers that wanted to work with me, like realtors that took me more seriously because they saw kind of what was going on. So honestly, I think like without social, I would not have been able to get to where I am as quickly as I've gotten. Now, don't get me wrong, I do a ton of in-person networking. I think still like that face-to-face component of meeting with locals and being involved in like a community is really important. But yeah, I would say like probably like 90% of like what I've done is because of what I built on social. Yeah.
Fantastic. Jay asked another question here. How do you convert your leads to sales or deals?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, the simplest answer to that is by building a lead capture system. So whether that's on a website, my recommendation is having like a really, really good call booking system like Calendly or Acuity, where people can like book appointments with you, lead contact forms, even on business Facebook pages now, you can attach forms and you can attach like online booking and scheduling apps onto your business Facebook pages. So it's just about making it easy for people to reach out to you and by creating a call to action. So for example, if you're like, oh, I just secured this really awesome flip deal, check it out, you're kind of leaving meat on the table. You could instead say, hey, I got this really cool flip on the go, really excited about it. If you're interested in learning more about how we can work together, book a call in my call calendar, or let's book a face-to-face appointment or meeting or whatever the case is. So it's just about like integrating call to action and then having kind of like these lead capture systems to really, you want to get on the phone, you want to get face-to-face with these people. Yeah.
Awesome. Paul is asking, if you already have a personal Instagram, would you recommend setting up another, like a real estate investor account and then pushing people to that? That's a good question.
I get this one a lot. It's always like such a mixed question, but my answer is typically yes. Do create a business Instagram and a business Facebook page. Two reasons. One is that now Instagram and Facebook are connected. So if you link them, it's really nice because instead of double posting all the time, you can post one thing to Insta and then share it automatically to Facebook, which saves you a lot of content creation time. B, also that like, your friends and family may not want to get spammed by like a lot of like real estate stuff. And this way you keep a bit of separation. You keep all the people interested in your real estate stuff on the real estate page. And then you can keep a little bit of privacy too. Like for those of you guys that maybe don't want to share a ton of pictures of your kids or like your personal vacations or stuff, you kind of can keep that hidden and private. And then you only talk about the business related stuff on your page. I do it personally too, because, you just want to kind of protect what you share online too. So
yeah, for sure. Mike is asking, any tips on converting likes and follows to real world engagements?
Yeah. So similar thing, guys, it's definitely about just trying to interact with these individuals and saying, hey, I see that you've liked my page, or I see that you've, commented on this, or whatever the case is. Would you like to book a call about that? Do you want to chat more about, my deals in X city? Have you ever considered private lending? Like, let's talk. So literally, like, you guys can take the bull by the horns too. Sometimes I like to go in some of the off market, like investing groups too, and see like, maybe there's an individual that's like, hey, I have money to lend, or I see them post a lot on, posts where someone's saying, hey, I'm looking for 100K for a flip. I'm like, oh, I've seen this guy post like a bunch of times. I'll private message them and be like, hey, I see, you seem like a serious private lender. I have a lot of deals on the go. Would you like to set up a call and see if maybe we're interested in working together? So literally it's that simple. It's like, you guys just have to like initiate that conversation and just say, cool, how's it going? Let's book a call. Let's, chat about real estate.
Amazing. And I think that's an important point, Sarah, is it is just a conversation. I think it can sort of feel overwhelming when you're first starting out and really nerve-wracking, but it is just a conversation. And if you're heading into it with the mindset of, win-win, then it eases it up a lot, I find.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just chatting. And if it leads into something awesome, if not, then, hey, you met another cool investor, so. Yeah,
absolutely. Great. Any other questions here? Let me just check the chat and see if I missed any. We're getting lots of comments. Great presentation. Awesome. Great info, Sarah. Thanks for the answers. Thank you for posting the link in there to the book that I had mentioned.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay. I think that's all. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Amazing info. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone start posting.
Yeah, check out the Instagram.
And like I said, guys, take a look at each other in the chat. Not that you can see each other in the chat, but take a look at people's names in the chat and like write them down. Make sure you go out, you follow other people, find them on social media, and see how we can help each other. Awesome. Thanks again, Sarah.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So we are going to, actually, this is a good opportunity. If you need to get up, go to the washroom, go ahead and do that. Before our next speaker joins us, let me just see
who
joined. Right. I know. Let me just see here. I want to make sure I've got the right view going on. Okay. What did I want to say? Oh, we have a fun thing coming up this summer. Should I mention that?
Well, it's still in its infancy, but we could maybe give a little clue to it.
Right. So if you don't yet follow the Ontario Real Estate Investors Association on social media, I'm going to ask that you do that. Go and like our Instagram page, our Facebook page. Follow us on YouTube. Make sure you click the bell on YouTube to get notified of new videos, and subscribe to our channel. We have a fun in-person networking event that we are in the works of planning for this summer. It's looking like August, maybe September, but we're hoping for August. So I want you to just keep that in mind. Keep your eyes peeled on our social channels and the emails that I send out, because I'll be sending out something shortly. So if you're looking for an opportunity to connect with people and have some fun outside, then you're going to want to stay tuned. And no, it will not be in Florida. Sorry.
Although that would be fun.
That would be great. That might be like a winter event. We'll see if we can maybe do that. But okay, so we are going to, let me just change the view here. So I am going to, you know what I didn't do, Shawn? I didn't even think to take a look at your bio to introduce you. I mean, I know you, but Shawn is I'm just sharing my screen here with you guys while I pull up his presentation. He is a multi-dimensional entrepreneur. Shawn has been investing in real estate since about 2007. And he started out doing flips. That's sort of what you're known for. Got into buy and holds, and quickly, as it happened, ran out of money when he was building up his portfolio. So he started really focusing on more flips. And over the years, I mean, he'll talk more about what he's done, but he's done lots of flips. He's now, in the past year and a half, been moving into more development projects and, you know, stepping outside of the typical residential real estate. So I'm going to let him talk about that. He is going to share with us tonight his portfolio, what he's done, how he's grown his business since COVID. So this is since March of 2020, everything he'll be talking about tonight.
Awesome.
Are you all set? Can everyone see can you just put in the chat? Can you see the screen? Corey, oh, I can't see. Okay, I'm going to assume we're all good. Let's see here. All good. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, first, before I get started on mine, I want to say thank you to Jenn, because without Jenn, Andrea would not be happening at all. So he basically runs this entire thing, puts it on to perfection every month. I'm just around for the eye candy, but she does most of, you know, the behind the scenes, the preparation, the getting the speakers and putting it all together. And she does a fantastic job actually speaking every month as well. So let's have a virtual round of applause for Jenn for another year of doing it. Thank you.
Thanks.
So we get a lot of people that ask about my portfolio, about what we're doing, how we're adjusting to, well, this is a few months ago, it's changing a little bit more quickly now, but how we're adjusting to COVID, what sort of deals are we doing? Are we actually doing deals? So I just wanted to sort of go behind the scenes, just give a quick look of the things that we have been doing, what we're involved in. And it's not, Jenn said March, but basically I took a look back to January of 2020 up till this point. So a couple extra months in there, but just to give you an idea of what it is that we've been doing. Oh, what button am I pressing here? Yeah.
Where'd it go?
So this one here?
Just push that.
Okay. All right. So Jenn sort of gave a background, and if you've been following me on social media or you've been following Andrea, I'm pretty sure that you know most of the backstory. But for those of you that don't, I used to work for Toyota for 18 years, and I quit that job about 7 years, well, almost 8 years ago now, and went full-time into real estate investing. But while I was working full-time with Toyota, I was, essentially working full-time in real estate and doing both at the same time. And so I've been investing in real estate since I did my first flip in 2007. And I kind of got known for doing flips. We were doing a lot of volume at one point. And we've,
Sorry,
yeah.
Why don't you say why you started investing in real estate?
Why I started investing in real estate. So is this gonna be interactive?
No, well, maybe, but
Okay.
just go ahead.
It should be. So why I got involved in real estate is basically, you know, I'm, as most people are when they're working for someone, they're trading their time for money, right? So there's a certain limit as to how high you can go, a certain limit to how much money you can make, and how much time freedom you can have. And I hated going into work. I hated trading my time for money. And I wanted to have two things. I wanted to have freedom of my time to do what I wanted when I wanted, but I also wanted to grow wealth and have some generational wealth for my family and for my kids beyond what I was making, you know, at a 9-to-5, so to speak. So that sort of led me into trying to find a wealth builder and something that I could do outside of what I was doing. And after some research, we basically settled on real estate as the place to do it. So just sort of keep going in there. So serial entrepreneur, mostly real estate, but into a lot of different facets of real estate. I've pretty much done everything from wholesales to flips to development to conversions, franchise owner, you name it. I think we've done it in real estate. Buy and hold. So we have a portfolio, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Done some land development, some commercial stuff, and just recently we've started to get into the international market and started to invest into Florida. So that is my family. That's my son on the left there is shorter than me in this picture, but he's now actually taller than me at 14 years old. And then on my other son there is 10, you know, Jenn, and then our dog Carl, which is in most of Jenn's social media posts. And just because we're talking about last year from January on, you know, it's really been an acceleration. And Sarah was talking about how quickly social media can project you forward and your career forward. You know, as you progress and you start to get into real estate and you start to gain some success, it really starts to compress the time. And so the gains that you get start to leapfrog each other, right? And they start to jump in bigger bounds. So 2020 and 2021 has really been about me and the family taking our life and building it by design. We're trying to build a specific lifestyle that we want, that obviously we couldn't do when I was working full-time at Toyota and Jenn was working full-time, but we can do it with real estate. And the success that real estate has given us has allowed me to do a lot of things that I never thought I could have done. You know, there's some pictures here. One is last year with our cottage, which we actually flipped, but we were able to use that cottage for the entire year. As we were flipping it, we got full use of it. We ended up selling it and we're looking for another one, but you know, it allowed us to have some great family memories at the cottage. The second photo there, that we took the family to Costa Rica, and we stayed in Costa Rica this year during the pandemic for 2 months. While all the craziness was going on in Ontario here, we were having a ball with the family in in Costa Rica. And then the last picture there, just recently I had a chance to go on a private jet. First time I've ever been on a private jet, and it was an amazing experience. And that's just not something that I would have been comfortable to do any other time in my past, right? So it's been a progression in life and in the real estate world. So yeah.
And sorry, I'm gonna try not to do this, but I just wanted to make a point about, you know, the photos that you see. Something that Sarah said was, you know, you want to show people who you are. And this is something, I think it was one reason why Shawn was so hesitant to post to social media years ago, was when we were starting to build momentum and have success, he didn't want to show up on social and have people think he was bragging. Yeah. Which, still. No, exactly. And it's still, you know, makes you question what you should post. His big thing, and I think what I hope gets across on the social media, is inspiration, right? He knows what it's like to work the 9 to 5 and wants to show what's possible with real estate investing. And the funny thing is, the only reason you were able to go on that private jet is from seeing someone else on social media, yep. Another real estate investor who is at a whole other level. And you were able to connect with him on social media. Yep. 100%. And that's how you got on the plane.
No, hey, feel free to jump in. This is all part of you as well, right? So that's sort of the background. And like I said, I know most of you probably know at least a bit about me. And then, so before COVID, we were talking about flips and what I was known for. We were getting in our business up to about 30 flips a year. So we were doing quite a bit of volume. We've changed that sort of focus now. We're not doing as many single family flips as we get into more commercial and development deals, but the flips really allowed us to accelerate everything that we did. We focused on flips. We got really good at it. We did a lot of volume, and it allowed us to open a lot of doors for everything else. And we had a small buy and hold portfolio. We had about 40 doors, and it kind of fluctuated. Like we would go up some and then we would sell, we'd go up some more, but it fluctuated around 40 doors. And we were kind of at that level for a few years, and we're just sort of, you know, going through the motions with those while we did, they were sort of on the side burner while we did the flips. And then I bought my first residential development deal where we're building 28 condos in Norwich. And that has taken a long time, but we're getting to the point where in a couple of weeks, we're going to break ground and build those. We wanted to get into flips and investing in the US, which we just started. But the biggest thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to increase the buy and holds on the larger fit multifamilies. So anything sort of 12 unit and above was what we were focusing on. We really wanted to build the portfolio of that as passive income so that we could rely on all that income, whether we were in Canada, we were in the States, we were in Costa Rica, whatever we were doing, we knew that those would be just producing money month after month. And back then, what I thought was pretty lofty is we wanted a passive monthly goal of 10,000 a month. That's kind of what we were shooting for.
Okay.
Yep, good. So this says again since March, but this is since January 2020.
Okay, yep. I'm going to pop in one more time. So
pop in.
We on social, if you're following Onria, I asked this question about capital, raising capital, and how much capital you think Shawn has raised since January of last year. So I want you to put in the chat how much capital, because he's going to get to that in a second in his presentation, but write in the chat how much capital you think Shawn has raised since last January.
There's no prize. I just want to.
There is no prize, but I'm curious. Let's see who gets it right.
The prize is bragging rights. Okay.
So since March of last year, drum roll, what have you done?
So we purchased 40 properties since then. And then the breakdown. So, a lot of times we're talking about social media and we're talking about all the different things that people do on social media. And a lot of times you only see the good stuff, right? When people are celebrating, we bought this or we flipped this and we sold this or refinanced. We have a lot of, obviously there's still issues as you go along, you build your business, but what I'm showing you here is just sort of the highlights of what we've done. It's not pros or cons. It's just kind of, specific to this is the facts of what we've done. So 40 properties since since January of 2020, 14 of those were fix and flip projects. And 4 of the fix and flips were multifamily. So they were, there was duplexes and quads out of those flips. 26 of the properties were buy and holds. 21 of them were multifamilies. And that was anything from a duplex all the way up to a 54plex. So last year we bought, which is our signature building so far, a converted schoolhouse in Ingersoll, which has got 54 units. We're actually building more units in it right now, so it'll have more, but that's been the biggest project that we've had so far. We've done 2 conversion projects, commercial development project. We're building a plaza here in our little hometown of Inverkip, which is, you've probably seen it posted on social media, but it's basically a 4-unit commercial, what do you call it? Like side-by-side plaza. Mm-hmm. And a residential commercial development project of 25 1-acre lots in Mount Elgin. And just recently, it says 1 storage facility there, but I'm in the midst of buying a 2nd storage facility. And then we wholesaled 4 properties since then as well. So we wanted to work on our wholesale side of the business, but unfortunately, a lot of the buildings, the flips, we just kept ourselves and flipped, but some of them we were able to wholesale. And where did the deals come from? So get this all the time, especially during COVID, people were saying, I can't find deals. The market was insane. There was so many bidding wars. There was people paying outrageous amounts of money for things. Got into that a little bit, but typically when we saw craziness going on and more than a couple of offers, we would back off and not even get involved. The numbers just don't make sense at that point. But for us, the deal sources, we did get 9 from MLS. Most of those MLS deals were multifamily, so it was on the commercial side. 27 of them were private deals, so they were either brought to me by someone that I know, or a networking lead, or just some other private avenue. And then 4 of them we actually bought from wholesalers. So there is a lot of, I just want to say something about wholesaling right now. There's a lot of different leads and different wholesale deals flying around on social media these days. Just be careful. Wholesale can be a great lead source, but just make sure that you're doing your own due diligence and that the numbers that are presented on there are accurate, right? So do your own due diligence with that. I just want a little disclaimer to make sure, because I hate to see anybody get into something over their head and just rely on someone else's numbers. Just because someone's posting it on their lead sheet or on social media does not mean that that's the Bible.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, here we go.
Drum roll, please.
So wait a minute, can we see the chat? Let's take a quick peek. Okay, what have people guessed here?
These are the numbers that people want to give me.
Let's see. Okay, so we've got a lot of
close
guesses, some close ones. Awesome. Okay, you got your guesses in. All right, drum roll.
Wow, there's some big numbers up there too.
Yeah,
You guys must think I'm a savage.
Where'd it go? Here we go.
So total capital raised, and it actually, when I was trying to pull the numbers together for this, I was surprised that it was this low. I thought it would be a lot more actually, but it turns out, so the total capital raised was 25 million. 2 million of that was in vendor takebacks. So, a lot of people say, how do we get vendor takebacks? Are they available anymore? Typically, it's you see it more in the commercial deals, in the multifamily side or in the commercial buildings. But we were able to utilize vendor takebacks for over $2 million, which is a fantastic source of money if you can get it. And the only way you're going to find out if you can get a vendor takeback is to ask. Okay. No, or I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people just assume that they're not going to get one and they don't ask, but you're never going to get what you don't ask for. Okay.
That's an awesome point.
13 million via brokers and mix. So, not your traditional banks like Royal Banks or whatever, but through real estate brokers and through mix, we were able to raise 13 million, and then over 10 million just in private funds. And that's just by me doing the prospecting, looking for money outside of the traditional avenues.
Mm-hmm.
And we paid over 2 million in interest last year. So we made a lot of people a lot of money. And I just want to, there's some investors on here tonight, and there's probably going to be some that'll watch after this fact, but, I need to say a huge what do you want to say?
A huge amount of gratitude.
A huge amount of gratitude to all my investors, because basically investors are the lifeblood of our business. Without them, I have nothing. So, it's humbling when people will invest in you, and typically they're not investing in the deal. They're investing in you. And like Sarah said before, they need to know, like, and trust you. It's a big deal for people to give you money. You need to treat it with respect. And I'm humbled by the fact that we're able to get all this money from people who trust us. And I'm happy to pay out all that interest to these guys. It's a win-win situation. They get great returns, and I get to continue on doing business that I love. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's done that. And for the private funds, where do I get that? I mean, the brokers is pretty easy. You just call brokers and you get some relationship that way. But for the private funds, I use a lot of long-term investors that have done multiple deals with me. They're always coming back because, reputation and track record, they know what's going to happen. Mortgage brokers will sometimes send other people our way that they can't really fit into what their traditional lending model is. And we also welcome a lot of new investors through referrals from other lenders, through networking. And again, to what Sarah was saying, through social media. Like, we get lots of people that reach out, whether they saw a posting of, a deal that we did, or Jenn and I did a 500K challenge through our mastermind group last year while we were at the cottage and at home. And it was a 30-day challenge where you did a video every day for 30 days. And it really wasn't asking for money or asking for investors. It was just about showing your life and, sort of, reach behind the curtains and see what's going on in their lives, in our lives. And we had lots of people reach out, and it was great. We welcomed a lot of new investors and a lot of people who maybe not have invested yet, but have taken the time to reach out and to learn about what we do in case they want to invest in the future. So. the strategy that we had basically was, for the flips, obviously we wanted to sell every flip, and we did. We succeeded on those. We were trying to sell off a lot of our smaller multifamily buildings to put towards our larger acquisitions. Like I said, we want to go 12 units and above. And we were able to do that. We've sold 6. We still have a few more that are for sale. If anyone's looking for small multifamilies in St. Thomas, that'll be my sales call there. And we were able to refinance 12 multifamily buildings with conventional financing. That was a huge win for me, because over the last probably 3 to 4 years, when I've had, some big, not bigger, but like bigger than duplexes, we're talking, quads, 5, 6 plexes, 12 plex, 7 plex. When we had those, it was incredibly difficult. And I'm sure other people are having this experience, getting conventional financing with a bank like Royal Bank or Scotia, because of what we were doing, right? They looked at our business as flipping. They looked at it as risky, don't have a, T4 job behind it. We left all that behind. So I had a huge difficulty in refinancing those. So it was a massive win for me to finally get a couple of them refinanced. And once the first 2 came, then it was like a ball rolling downhill. We were able to get more and more finance. So, and why that was so important to me, obviously, is it drastically increases the cash flow by cutting down the interest. So going from private money, even if it was lower private money, down to conventional funding, was huge. I mean, so the one deal on the 54plex, we're basically paying, under 2% interest for a 40-year amortization. So it's crazy. Maybe we shouldn't have done the jump around ones.
You asked for jumping around, remember?
I wanted visual.
You're like, zoom, it needs to zoom.
Okay, so the vision that sort of directed what we want to do and why we do our portfolio like we do, there actually is a bit of a strategy behind it, believe it or not. But like I was saying before, we wanted the freedom to be able to do what we want when we want, right? We want to go on vacation, we want to work from Costa Rica or work from Florida. And we wanted to take advantage of that, but we also wanted to increase the cash flow to, what we call FU money, right? So you can do basically whatever you want. And enough money to take advantage of these, their opportunities are out there everywhere. And another point just to make, and I used to shy away from this all the time, and I would never do VIP. I would never pay extra for, VIP or first class or any of that stuff. I just thought it was a waste of money. Now I take advantage of any of that anytime I can. And I'll tell you why. Those opportunities give you the greatest rewards. And some of those opportunities open up doors that you'll never get any other way, right? Like going on this private jet and going on the yachts, it's made me more money than I could imagine. Could have imagined before going on it. So just, a little mind shift there is to don't look at those so much as expenses. Yes, it costs a little bit more, but what does it open up for you? And anyway, so that was kind of the vision we have for our lifestyle. And it's, lifestyle by design, we call it. And the new goal is we want to basically double the real estate holdings that we have to 100 million. And we want to, this number might sound crazy, but 500,000 a month in cash flow. That's the new goal. Can you imagine the opportunity for your life that could open up if you get to that?
Well, and what you can do for others too, right?
Absolutely. The more you make, the more you can give.
Absolutely.
Don't forget that.
Sound like Stefan there. Write that down.
Oh, Stefan. Okay, so we wanted to just kind of, open the curtains and show you a couple of the deals that we're actually doing. Not a lot of people show you real numbers. These are real numbers. They might be rounded one way or the other, but they're basically the numbers that we're using for our deals. The Interkit Plazas, well, this is one of the commercial ones that we're doing right now. We actually bought, and this was a deal we got off market, and we got this through networking, which we never would have imagined we would get a deal like this doing what we did. But the purchase price of the land, so it's raw land, zoned for plaza. It was basically already site plan approved. Purchase price was 1.6 million. The construction budget on it is 1.8 million. Excuse me. And you can see the numbers there. We're looking at 260,000 per year for rental income. We've already had the end appraisal done for what the value of the building will be once it's fully tenanted with the tenants we have, and it comes out to 4.7 million. So we already have that. That's what we're using for financing with the banks. And we're going to refinance at approximately 3 million of our conventional financing. So if you follow those numbers through there, when we're done, oh, we didn't change the 160.
Oh, whoops.
Sorry, that 160 should be 400. So we'll have approximately 400,000 of our own money left in the deal, but we'll have $1.7 million in equity in this building and be enjoying over 6,000 per month cash flow. So it's kind of a good burr, but a very good deal that we were able to secure, off market. And then to show you sort of on the flip side, this is a single family flip. This was a building or a property that we actually got from a wholesaler. Again, we were not afraid to use wholesalers. I don't really care what the fee is. A lot of people get wrapped up. How much am I paying a wholesaler for this building? To me, I don't care. If the numbers work, the numbers work, and good for them for finding the property, and they deserve the money they get. But just to give you a breakdown, and the purchase price that we had, including the wholesale fee, and I won't tell you what the fee was $370,000. The rentals we did was just over 66,000. Commission on the sale was 33,000. And the interest and fees on private money. So again, this is another thing people get held up on, right? Am I gonna, when I go to get money and I want to do a flip, but the only money I can get is at 10% or 12% or even 14, 15%. If the numbers work and you're still gonna make money, what do you care what you're paying for if that's the only money you can get? Right? So think about that. If you can only get, it's great to get 4%. But if you can only get money from a private lender at 15% and you're still going to make $80,000, do you care if you pay that percentage? I don't think you do, right? Like, you just have to run those numbers. So just to show you how much we paid, the investor there, almost 21,000. Land transfer tax, lawyers, fees, etc., blah blah blah, 9,000, and then we sold it for 583. So the profit on that one, and it was a 4-month turnaround from the time that we closed to the time that we closed on the sale. And just, this is a breakdown of some of the rentals. Not everything's in there. I don't think painting's in there. There's a few other things, but just wanted to sort of give you an idea of the cost of some of the stuff that we did and what we were looking at doing. Really, we'll take on any job as long as the numbers make sense, from a full get to just a cosmetic deal, but just to give you a good idea. And then I think the next one shows the before and after. So yeah, it wasn't too crazy. New kitchen, basic stuff, just trying to make it look pretty. And, we're not over developing it or not over renovating it for the area that it's in, right? Some areas don't need, stone countertops. Some areas don't need to have, hardwood flooring. Vinyl's fine. So just, we renovate to where the area is.
Do you want to go over, Mary?
Yep, this is, there's not much to this one. I just wanted to show you another flip, just some basic numbers. This is one we did in Woodstock just recently. And that we bought this one. This is an off-market deal. We got it through our own lead source. We paid $195. We put in a lot more for rentals than we thought we were going to. There's some structural issues that we had to take care of, and it just got a little bit more and more, as some flips do. Fortunately, because we were in the time of COVID when everything was going crazy, it seemed like the longer we were holding onto the property, the more the value went up. So it got absorbed into the renovation amount. But commission was 17,000, land transfer tax you see there, and then profit again on that one was 45,000. So some of the rentals we did, the brickwork on the outside we had to redo. Was starting the one corner was starting to come down. I got a good brick guy, so it wasn't so bad. The biggest thing that we did on this one is we actually relocated the kitchen from the back of the house, where it was in this dungy little room overlooking like a I don't even know what it was, like a mud room on the back, and moved that entire kitchen to the front of the house where it overlooked the street and had nice, bigger, brighter windows. So that there's a bit of a cost there, but it really changed the look of the house. We redid the bathroom that was upstairs, and we added a half bath on the main floor that didn't have one. So great utility there. That really increases the value of the building. So just a quick photo of the brickwork that we had to redo. We basically took down that whole side and redid it.
Can you drink?
Yeah, I'll take a little drink here. Just keep going. So that was, I mean, obviously there's lots to it. There's 40 purchases that we had. We didn't even really go through any of the sales. Actually, a really interesting one that we just sold. It was, we had a property back when I first started investing. I think it was maybe a year and a half after we started. We moved to Woodstock, and I bought a portfolio of 5 properties from an older guy in a small town outside of Woodstock, and they were all like, you know, century homes, all falling apart. Like, basically he was putting these things together with duct tape, literally duct tape and newspaper. Like, it was crazy, some of the stuff. So I bought these 5 properties, and the funny thing is, this was like back when you could get cashback mortgages, whatever. But I bought the entire portfolio of 5 properties. I put down $4,000 on each property. That's the down payment. And then he took a vendor take back for the entire amount for the rest of the 5, and left it open until I refinanced or I sold them off. So I started selling off, you know, I'd fix them up and then I would sell them off. But the last one that I had, so that was back 2008, 2009, just sold the last one now. The purchase price on that one was $90,000, and I just sold it for 385, I think it was 385. And from the point that I bought it to now, to duplex, I was cash flowing on that property the entire time. So just a interesting story about how you can use vendor take back, and, you know, just some different strategies to acquire properties, right? This guy was older, his health was faltering, he just wanted to get out, and I gave him the easiest solution. I would take it over right away, you know, do this for me and I'll do this for you, and it worked out really well. But what's next for us right now? Hopefully you guys are following us on social media and saw the absolutely crazy flip that we bought up in Huntsville and Muskoka. It's a log cabin. Was it 10,000 square feet?
Almost, yeah.
On 2 acres, overlooking a lake and a golf course, or sorry, not a lake, a river and a golf course. This thing is massive. It looks like Great Wolf Lodge inside. Like, when you walk in, I bought it sight unseen. And
we were in Costa Rica.
In Costa Rica. And when I came back, I walked in the front door, and it's just like this cavernous, massive log cabin. And we bought that to flip. We've got some, you know, different exit strategies in case, but just to give you some numbers on that one, it's really cool. And I hope you follow along. I'm going to start posting more pictures as we progress in the rentals. But it's a really cool project. Thought it might be interesting for you here. We bought it for 1.35. It was a power of sale. Rental budget on it is about 1.1 million. That could fluctuate, I'm sure, by 200,000 either way, depending on what we uncover as we go. Land transfer tax and legals, we're at about 36,000. I expect it to be 8 months. At least I hope it to be 8 months. We want to get it on the market before, you know, fall and winter start coming. But just some ideas on it. The first mortgage, we at 1.2 million. We've got a second mortgage at 770. So I expect to pay around 160, $160,000 in, this is interest cost, guys. This is interest on private money to do this. Okay. Some people think that's absolutely insane. That number could climb to 200, over 200,000, depending on the length of the project. But if you look at the final number, the total we'll have into the project will be somewhere around 2.6. The anticipating selling price, we're hopefully being conservative at 4 million, but we're looking at well north of that number. Excuse me. But just a fun project. Really cool to see what the building is and what we're going to do with it. And I'm really excited to show the progression of it. Here's just a couple of the photos of the building right now as we bought it as is. So that's the sort of front when you drive up the driveway, you see that. So we're going to make lots of changes. Right? You know, obviously you can't see what I'm pointing at, but the front door there, that white door, we're going to make that entire sort of side of that building a grand entrance. So we'll get rid of that crappy white door and fix up all that stuff. This back, so this is the view of the back. It overlooks, so all those windows from that grand room there overlook the 2 acres. It overlooks the river and overlooks the golf course on the other side of the river. What's the resort there?
Deerhurst.
Deerhurst, yeah. And then just a picture, one of the pictures of the inside as you walk in the main door. So just like the grandiose of it is incredible. It's overwhelming when you're in there. It's so big. It's just insane.
This was when, just to pop in, this was when that Shawn was like, okay, well, big risk could be big reward. You never know. But one thing we are learning about investing in places like, up north, where we've had our cottage flip and now this log cabin flip, we're learning about different areas and getting permits and working with the cities and counties in different areas. Don't think that because your city, your area is easy to work with, permits come in this amount of time. It's not like that everywhere. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking at investing outside of your usual area, you're looking to flip and do some work. Just keep in mind, ask around what it's like to work with the communities up there.
Yeah, and the other thing that I want to say, like on this one, it's a cool project, but for people who are, getting started, or even more advanced people, this is a project that if you are taking it only from the stance of flipping, it's high risk, high reward. But if that's your only strategy and it can't sell, either A, it can't sell, or B, it can't sell for what you expected to sell, it could cripple you. Because you saw the cost of the private money there, and if you continue to pay that private money, you'll quickly eat up all your money and more. So it's important to know that yes, we took the risk on this as a high risk, high reward flip, but we have multiple exit strategies. So if the flip doesn't work out, we've also got exit B, exit C, which is we can rent it out as a high level retreat. There's lots of appetite for that up there. Good money to be able to recoup and make money on that. And exit C, we can keep it for ourselves as part of our own our vacation residence and use short-term rentals, etc. Right? Like there's lots of different opportunity for exits there. Just want to make that point, because a lot of times when people put a lot of faith into one thing and that's the only vision they have, it can cripple you.
You do have multiple exit strategies for basically every project you do.
Yep.
Okay, so what's next?
So next, besides those deals, so I decided I've got a lot of requests over the years for people to, and I've got a lot of push from Jenn for coaching. So I've decided to partner with Blackheart, and the reason I did that is because Stefan Arnio, I'm sure most of you people know who he is, was my coach a few years ago when I did my platinum coaching, and awesome experience. It really propelled our life and our goals and everything that we've done. And I the way that I look at the stuff that I do, and Jenn maybe can tell you a little bit of why we look at it this way, but there's a structured portion of it, right? That you need to do the basics, you need to do certain things, but then there's also the portion of personality, experience that I think I bring a unique perspective to, right? What do you always tell me? I'm the everyday guy.
You're the guy that is still wearing shorts and flip flops in the middle of winter, and has business meetings at a brewery. And
yes, absolutely. If you guys want to have a business meeting, the best place to have it is to invite me to a brewery. Just to let you know. But anyway, so we're starting that coaching. So if anyone's interested in coaching, please reach out to me, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. The other thing that we decided to do, and again, a push from Jenn. Jenn is really good at pushing me to do things that I don't necessarily want to do, but need to do. So after a lot of contemplation and talking about it for a number of years, we decided to write a book. And I posted this on social media again, just to get an idea of what people thought about the different covers and names and stuff. But this is what we decided on. This will be the book itself, the title, the color, the look of it, and it should be out fairly shortly. So we're hoping maybe sometime next month. So that's written, that's done, and I really look forward to sharing it with you.
Yeah, Shawn, I mean, you heard his story. He worked for Toyota, worked at a factory for 18 years. And I think, like Sarah was saying, there's a lot of people out there that have a story that they can relate to Shawn, right? Like they maybe have the same type of background. They've been working in a factory forever, and they're looking for, some tips. They're looking to hear how someone else was able to do something different if that's what they wanted to do. So
It's meant to give inspiration. It's meant to show that there's a different way, that you're not stuck and you're not alone in the feeling that you do, right? So
yeah, and it's not necessarily a how-to book.
No.
But there's a lot of stories that we've shared in this book, a lot of experiences and a lot of things we've learned over the last 15 years of investing that can really help people. So I'm glad you listened to me finally.
I had to. So that's it. I hope, it wasn't meant to really kind of say that, that we're great and this is everything that we're doing. It was more meant to show you, a real look of a portfolio of what we're doing. We're not just, doing ONRIA, but not doing anything ourselves, or posting on social media and not really doing anything. And we're definitely not coaches that are just, talking the talk, but not walking the walk. So just want to give you a sort of insight into that. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it. I'd be happy to talk to anybody if you want to shoot me a message. And here's some different ways that you can get a hold of me. So email, and obviously on social media, you can get a hold of, and Jenn as well, right? So she didn't put her information there, but I think Jenn Bowdring is your handle and everything. So,
yeah, I think I'm the only one.
Yeah. So and I'm open to questions if there's any.
Okay.
Any there? Take over. And
I will take over.
Not that you actually gave up control, because you back in on it.
I'm supporting. I'm helping you. Okay, let's see what questions we have here. Let's see. Sir Charles Cox, being on social, are you ever concerned about creating resentment with tenants?
Yeah, I fight with that all the time in my head about posting stuff, and even with investors, with potential sellers of houses, tenants, people. It's like texting, right? People can misconstrue things that you're saying because there isn't really context behind certain things. So I do worry about that. I try not to. I just try and be authentic and be honest, and just, put out there what I believe is me. And, if it causes problems, then I just, I'll work on that head on.
Should we mention the whole Intricate Plaza thing?
No.
Okay. Paul says, for the buy and holds that you acquire, how many of them are JVs, and how do you structure your JV? Good question.
None. I don't do, and nothing against JVs. It's a great way to accelerate your growth. It's a great way to network as well, and to increase the people in your group.
And you used to do JVs.
Very few. Yeah, very few. I don't do JVs mainly because I like to have control. What's a JV? Joint venture. So just coming together with another investor or more than one to do a deal together, right? Whether that's with money or talent, or operationally, you just come together and do a joint venture on a project. I just don't do it. I prefer to have investors that invest money, and I just pay a return on that investment, and then that way everything that I have is just owned by me. So when we talk about portfolio amount, that's my portfolio. It's not a group's, right?
Ryan's asking, Shawn, do you do flyers to find deals, or SEO, Google, Facebook ads?
Hey, Ryan. We do everything. And I shouldn't say we do everything all at one time, because that would cost a lot of money and not necessarily get you the returns you want. We have done everything. We've done every guerrilla marketing thing you can think of, from, driving for dollars to knocking on doors to yellow letters to bandit signs. We do SEO, we do pay-per-click, we do Facebook ads. We've done it all, but we try and sort of rotate what we do to see what's working, and then whatever's working will sort of increase for that time period. But you'll find that it gets stale, and then you need to move on to something else and rotate those through.
Yeah. So Charles asked again, have you done any lending yourself?
Yep. I lend on mortgages and also on promissory notes.
Mandy, hey Mandy, do you hire a designer for picking layouts and finishes to know and maximize the ARV? How many crew members do you have doing flips at one time, and how many flips can we handle at one time?
So that's a great question. Some of the best ones that we've done in terms of the return has been with a designer. Mm-hmm. The cottage that we did with this designer we have up in Corthas was absolutely phenomenal. She's doing the log cabin that I just showed you. I'm not very good conceptually looking at, like colors and what sort of piece to put in there after the fact. And if you're not good at that, or you don't have someone on your team that's good for it, a designer is well worth it, I think. Yeah,
I think it would depend also on like your end user, right? Like who is buying this house? Yeah. If it's a high like executive estate, or if it's a luxury cottage like we did, invest in that designer. If it's
a cookie cutter bungalow in the middle of Toronto or in the middle of a town, I don't think you need to overthink it that much. It just needs to be new, clean.
Yeah.
Basically it's just about aesthetics, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about your crew and how many flips you can handle at a time.
So we were doing, when we were at our tops, doing about 30 a year, we would do anywhere from about 8 to 10 at one time. And so that would, it depends on the scope of work, right, for each one. But typically it would be 2 to 3 crews. Last year, and this is one thing I didn't put on the presentation, which is actually pretty relevant. We bought a construction company last year and brought them in-house. We were having a lot of trouble with getting good crews, with getting people who are reliable. I'm sure everyone's got their contractor stories, but we were having lots of trouble in getting good quality guys. So we found a company that was really good, that we were happy with, and did a few of our flips for us. And we actually bought them and brought them in-house. And so they really, if they can't finish all the projects that we have at one time right now, they're the ones that are outsourcing all to the rest of the people that they know.
And that has been like a major part of our business.
It's freed up more time than I can imagine.
And we don't have to worry about quality. Like we know they do a quality job, and it's just one less thing we have to worry about.
Yep.
And chase after people about. Let's see. Pri is asking, are you using your own crews for renovations? Okay, so we just answered that one. What about other markets? You want to talk about that when we go like up north into Peterborough, that sort of thing?
Yep. So we do have some crews up that we use Peterborough way, and now that we've got accustomed to different people. But as we move into a different market, my network is pretty good these days. So I know a lot of fellow investors. I know a lot of people that are doing the same thing. So referrals are big. But a caveat to that, just because someone gave you a referral to someone does not mean that person is going to do a great job for you. Okay, so you need to do more due diligence than just relying on someone's opinion, because I have in the past relied on someone referring and just have not had a good experience. Yeah. So leave it at that.
Yeah. Paul's asking, follow-up question to the JV. If you're doing your own buy and holds with investors' money, what types of returns are you providing to your investors?
It depends on the deal, right? So, there's a range when you're looking at whether it's a mortgage, whether it's a promissory note, whether it's a first, whether it's a second. Send me a message and I can go through that stuff with you. In general, and I think most people are the same, firsts are usually somewhere in the 6 to 10% range, depending. Seconds are more than that. Promissory notes can be anywhere from 4% to 20%. Like, there's so many different variables that it's a conversation.
For sure. Jeremy's asking, how do you both split up your roles in the business?
Jenn does everything and I just look good.
Oh my gosh. Shawn is the cook in the kitchen when it comes to deals and investments. He's like a one-man show pretty much. My role is more marketing, finding new leads, new deals, and I'm a sounding board.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
And all the Andrea.
Oh, and Andrea.
Yeah. Don't discount what you do. Jen runs the show.
Richard's asking, I currently have a 3-unit tied up to Burr. How do you identify a good contractor to hire? I'm meeting a few in the next week.
Send me a message if you want, Richard. I'll see what area you're in, and maybe we can give you some good info.
And Jeremy just had a comment there. So yeah, it's a great question. You know, when you have couples coming together in the business, you know, we, to be quite honest, we had tried working together before, and I ended up looking for a job, which sounds terrible, but we just hadn't, we hadn't worked things out properly. So it is important if you're a couple in business, especially if you're getting into real estate investing. Number one is communication. I mean, it's the same in marriage, right? Communication is key. And really understanding, you know, talking about what your strengths are, really being honest with each other about what their strengths are and what you want to be doing in the business. And then sitting down and sort of dividing out your roles and keeping that divided. That is huge. You don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. But also, you know, talking about sitting down, which we're not as good about that now. It's more sort of ongoing, but you know, setting aside maybe a Sunday morning or a Sunday afternoon, whatever that might be, to strategize. Like once a week, sit down, do a quick review. How did the week go? You know, what's coming up this week? What do we need to do? And, you know, having that 30 to 45 minute focus time so that your whole life doesn't become about the business, because you don't want that either. We try and make, well, when we were allowed out of the house, we tried to make it a priority to do date nights once a week for sure. And we are, you got to keep that side of your relationship sort of.
It's really hard to have one person doing full-time real estate and trying to progress and get further in this business if the other one is not supportive. So, you know, we had our challenges at the start to, I had to make Jen understand what it is the vehicle could do for everybody, right? And once that's clear, I think it's a lot easier to get the support. It's challenging, right? Like, you know, you go to your spouse and say, I'm leaving my job, I'm a full-time investor, I'm gonna flip houses, I might wholesale, I might do this. But if you have a good strategy and you've worked on it before you've left, and you've got, you know, an understanding of what this business can do for you with the freedom and the amount of money and time, it's critical.
Well, and part of that too, just not to beat a dead horse, but you know, include your spouse. If you're the driver of wanting to get into real estate investing or wanting to take your business to the next level, so that maybe say you can leave your 9 to 5, if your spouse doesn't understand, like Shawn was saying, or they don't feel included, it's going to be really hard to get them on board. It's one of the reasons why Shawn started inviting me to come with him to networking events. You know, I was at home with 2 little kids, and Shawn's out for another night of, I've got to network. You know, I read, got to come and, you know, I got to go and drink some beer with people. That's what I saw, right? And it was when he started including me and we did things together, I got to learn more, number one, but I also got to understand how much of a people business this really is and how important networking is and how he needs to go do those things.
Let's see if there's questions in the chat.
Okay. Sorry, there's another question here. Heidi, what point in your investing career did you hire a coach? Great question.
Well, Heidi, I waited way too long, I'll tell you that. I used to think that I didn't need help from a coach, and it was a waste of money. I could learn it all online or in books or off TV. So I wasted a lot of time in that sort of mindset. And quite honestly, it was not until, when did we hire Steph? 4 years ago? It wasn't until then. So that's what, I don't know, 10 years of just trying to do it myself. The vast difference from starting when we started coaching to when we ended like it's a complete
night and day.
Yeah, like it accelerates your knowledge and your time frame. Huge.
Absolutely. Let's see.
Any questions, or are they just
I'm
comments?
just trying to look through here.
One of my trusty glasses.
So we answered about the JV. Talk about your construction company. Okay, yeah, we did that. So one thing about the construction piece is that they don't just do our, I guess you sort of said this, they don't just do our flips. We, the guy that we bought the company off of, he is our project manager. Like he has independence. He's got autonomy to really, figure out what he needs to do for his team. Again, it comes down to communication, making sure the two of them are talking, but he really, we wanted to give him full reign because that's his zone of genius. Don't hire someone and try and tell them what to do. Hire the best and let them do their thing. Yep. Someone wanted you to talk about Florida.
What about it? And so the Florida, just in general, is we're starting to do business down there, meaning we're starting to do flips. We're going to start to buy income properties, commercial properties, etc. So it's just another avenue for us.
Yeah. So why don't you tell people sort of how you got that deal? A little bit more about that.
The first one?
The Florida property.
So just really basically what I wanted to do is we really wanted to get involved in the Florida market. That was kind of, we had centered it on that. So I had joined a bunch of, real estate, not clubs, but real estate sort of listings. I had joined a bunch of wholesalers lists of people that were wholesaling in Florida. And it just so happened that these continuous emails that I was getting from the one wholesaler, there was a property on there that really tweaked my interest. So that was the first one that we bought. And now, it's so crazy how the market down there's so much opportunity, even compared to here. Like you see how good the market is here, but down in Florida, it's just insane. And I think it's like that in a lot of different markets in the States, but that's how we got started. And now it's just, again, same thing as here, networking, right? Trying to find the different avenues, getting a good team, going to realtors that you trust and know.
Absolutely. Someone was asking here, did we both quit our 9 to 5 at the same time? No. I left first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Luke, good idea. Get your spouse to watch this. Absolutely.
And get them to come out to Onria when we start doing it live again.
For sure. Or have a date night. There's lots of people that use Onria, like even this online Zoom type of Onria as a date night. They'll get someone to watch their kids.
Yep.
They pour, whatever beverage they enjoy, and make this as a night to have some time together, learn together. It does wonders.
Who was your coach? My coach was the late, great Stefan Arnio. And if you don't know who Stefan Arnio is, Google him. You can find tons of information. He's written a lot of books, and each book is fantastic. I encourage you to read them all. But he's also, as I showed you, for Black Card University, he was the founder of that. Did a lot of coaching himself, and he was a guy that definitely walked the walk. Right, he was prolific flipper in Winnipeg. Just an all-around great entrepreneur.
Yeah, he was. We went to one of his events.
2-day seminar.
2-day seminar. And it's funny because we had gone to a bunch of different events, weekend events, where of course the guru is at the front of the room. And if you want to learn more, you have to join their program. Stefan completely gave everything away. Like he gave out all kinds of information, exactly how he analyzes a deal to know if he should buy it or not.
Yep. And
that really made a difference for Shawn. Like, okay, if this guy is able to give everything away, why wouldn't he be holding on to that? So that got us into a different conversation. We had done the VIP, so we were sitting right at the front, and that got us a lunch with him. And that's where we got to chat a lot more. And, I think that was a huge difference, a huge turning point, was able to talk with him like individually. And, it was a huge investment. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it wasn't cheap. It was, I think at that time we did platinum coaching. It was like 60 grand or 65 grand. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly what it was, and that was, again, I came from a mindset before that of, I can do it for free. I'm not paying. It's a waste of money. I would spend that and more 20 times over. Like it's incredible. And I see a question, what did, not to minimize what you're talking about there, but this kind of goes with it. What did the coach do for you that you couldn't do yourself? Right. It condenses time, and you don't know what you don't know. Right. And just to be fully transparent, what I was looking for was, at that time I was doing, I think 8 or 9 flips a year, something like that. What I wanted from him, because he was known as a flipper that was doing lots of volume and had lots of systems around how to increase the number of flips you're doing. That's what I wanted from him. And, that's why we signed on. And basically I think it was like the first or second conversation we had, it went from everything but flipping. We were talking about all my other businesses. We were talking about life, and like, it was just, he pushed us to start honoring. It was one thing, right?
Yeah.
But it was, it condenses the knowledge into a smaller time frame, right? So he took all of the knowledge that he had and put it on top of mine, and I got to learn all that very quickly instead of making all those mistakes as I went through, right?
And not all your conversations, like you said, were about flipping. Like, it became a lot about, what do you want? Like, these higher level questions that, if you don't have someone asking you that, it's easy to just be on this treadmill. Like, okay, I guess I need to go do another flip. I guess I need to go do another buy and hold. Whereas you've got someone who can look at you from high level and say, ask the questions that you might not be asking yourself, and that will help guide your path and ultimately guide your strategies in what you choose to do in your business and why you choose to do it.
Absolutely.
I think we might have gotten them all. Oh, no.
It was CRA audit. Yes, I've been audited.
That's it. Just boom, done.
Well, I mean, anytime you're doing a business like that, and it's, even if you're flipping, it's not even, even if you're flipping, but you're flipping under your name, there's certain red flags that go up with CRA. So just, expect it. So make sure that you've got everything in order. And if they audit you, big deal. As long as you have all your stuff ready and available to them, and you're not hiding anything, there's nothing to worry about with an audit anyway.
Yeah. Corey makes a good point there. All people have blind spots and limitations to their skills and knowledge, and team and coaches help to level you up in those areas. Cool. Absolutely.
And, Corey was a student of Stefan as well. And Corey is a great coach. So he sees both sides of it, right?
Yeah.
Dave Cox, what keeps you up at night, and how has that evolved or changed as you scaled over the years?
Good question.
Yeah, good question, Dave. It's funny. I'm really, I wasn't like this, but I am now for probably the last 7 or 8 years, as I started getting more and more, accepted of the fact that I'm doing this business, for real, right? Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm very much of a shoot and then aim person. So a lot of the times I would just be buying stuff and then looking for money. And at the start, I didn't have the network and I didn't have the investors that I have now. So sometimes it was a challenge. I always got it done. I always managed to do it, and I was always able to succeed. But there was a lot of times where I was worried about either having to disappoint the seller by pushing back the deal, or having to go find a JV, which I didn't really want to do. I wanted to do it myself, right? That sort of stuff kept me up at night. Now, basically, what keeps me up at night is I'm always thinking about, what's the next deal? What can I go buy? What's, it's constantly going in my head, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. So I'm always thinking about that.
So Shawn did a personality test. Well, Stefan had him do a personality test, and Shawn is considered a lord, which, explain what that is. It's
like back in the day when you owned land, you were a landlord.
Right. So that is like Shawn's drive for looking for new properties. Like that's a game to him. He enjoys that piece. So it keeps you up at night, but like in a good
It's
way.
the driving, it's the driving force. And that's why I said in the presentation, like my new goal now is a portfolio of 100 million. How can I get to that? What do I have to buy? What does it look like? How many units is it? What are my building sizes? You know, that sort of stuff. Where can I find them?
Yeah. Okay. That was long. We went longer than I thought we would. It's 10 after 9.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Normally we're the ones that are like, cut off. Sorry. Lost track of time. Maybe Corey and Sarah, if you want to pop back on for a second here. And
thanks for listening to my rambling, everybody.
That was great.
That's so Shawn was like, as we were about to do this, I don't know, he's like started sweating and like needing a drink of water. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I will never make you talk again. Like, geez.
That's not that bad.
Anyhow, any other questions? I know we did a lot of questions, but anything else that our speakers, Sarah or Corey, I know I didn't give you any time really to talk, but anything you guys want to share, any other, upcoming events you have that you might want to pass along?
Yeah, I guess I'll start. So I do have a burr course starting next week, which is pretty exciting. So for those of you guys that are looking to learn more about the burr process, we do have a small group VIP program starting up next week. So you guys can reach out to me at my Instagram handle or Facebook if you guys want. Yeah, that's pretty much all.
Awesome.
Fantastic. And just explain real quick, because we do have some people that are new. What does burr stand for?
Oh yeah, I should absolutely. See, I feel like real estate investing is like all about acronyms. We say JVs and burrs and BTBs, and it's like, what the heck? So, okay. So for those of you guys just getting started, you guys are probably very familiar with the process. It's buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. Had to remember that. So basically, I call it velocity of money. So for those of you guys kind of looking to scale up a portfolio, recycle your down payment money, really like ramp up a portfolio fast. For those of you guys that tuned into the whole talk and thought, how does this person grow a portfolio this big in 3 years? That's basically how we did it. We buy, run down properties, force appreciation, take it back to the bank, refi, pull out some cash, and then go and do it again. There's obviously a lot of intricacies that go into that, which is why we're doing this program, since a lot of people want to grow quickly and not just necessarily wait for passive market appreciation. So for those of you guys looking to get some advice on how to find contractors and analyze deals, this is a great kind of starter program for that. So
awesome. Can you send me the link that people can use to sign up for that, and I can include it in the email that'll go out after?
Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, great. And what about you, Corey? Do you have anything going on?
Yeah, I mean, we work with people on an ongoing basis. I also got the pleasure of working with Stefan Arnio while he was still around, and Shawn would agree. He's definitely a very polarizing guy, but I think the biggest thing is that he told it like it is, and he told you the truth, right? Which I think people need that in this world. There's not enough coaches out there that will tell you the truth. Yeah. And if you go study the best coaches in the world, that's what they do. They're not here to blow hot air up your backside. I mean, they're here to let you know what you really actually need to move forward. And anytime I've ever invested in myself, it's always been like a 20 to 30 time return or more. And it's actually easier to grow your business by like 5 or 10 times than it is to like double it, because a lot of people will try to double their business just by working harder and sleeping less and just trying to like burn the candle at both ends. But when you actually grow it bigger, that's when you're forced to build the right team around you and just make sure that you're setting yourself up on a strong foundation to scale and grow. And you see some of Shawn's goals here, they're within reach of everybody. Like you can't do it overnight in year one. We're all 10-year overnight successes here or at least 5 or 7 years, but you can accomplish a lot even in 1 or 2 years. So the key is just getting started and not hanging out in the right crowds like this. Everybody thinks I'm a weirdo. Like my wife's a teacher, and very few entrepreneurs in that group. So I think it's awesome having groups like this where you can connect with people and feel like you're cut from the same cloth, and real estate is just such a huge advantage right now with inflation going up like this, like crazy. You gotta make sure you have some hard assets in your portfolio.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you again to our speakers. Thank you to Sarah, and thanks to Corey for joining us again as our tech support and promoter and all the things that you do for us. And thank you, to my other speaker for joining us and sharing about your portfolio and kind of getting vulnerable, showing people sort of behind the curtain. What else did I want to mention? Just a reminder that we are taking the summer off. So there is no ONRIA for July or August. And we do have a summer event that I will be promoting soon, hopefully. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Again, make sure you are getting into social media. You're following us, Sarah, Corey, us personally, but also ONRIA, so that you can stay informed as to what's happening. Yep. And we can support you as well. Let's see, anything I'm missing?
Let's wish everyone an awesome summer. Hopefully everything opens up, and I would love to be able to get to see people in person over the summer. So hit us up and maybe we can get together. Oh yeah, Shawn just posted something about golf. Why don't you say? Yeah, so I am planning on having like a standing golf day for investors in Woodstock. So if you guys want to hit me up if you're interested in playing golf in Woodstock with a bunch of investors. It's just for fun, just to have, shoot the shit, have some fun, connect, play some golf. Direct message me or send me a message on email, and we'll put you on the list. Luke, brewery tours and golf. See, I'm the everyday guy.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Just because ONRIA is taking the summer off doesn't mean that you guys as investors should take the summer off. So this is a chance for you to make up ground on other people that are taking the summer off. That's not you. So keep working, everybody. Good point. Yeah, we're full pedal to the metal here for the summer for real estate. That's for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you to everyone for taking time this evening to join us and give us your attention and get involved in the chat, asking great questions. Love to see this group grow. And thank you. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the evening. It's still light out, if you can believe it. And we will see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye, guys.